Hi, welcome to the Split Up app. So today I was going through the Reddit subreddit Divorce, and I came across a story situation by Tax Glittering 6760. And the question is, how do people actually afford divorce on a normal salary? This is a great question. It's a difficult situation to be going through. I'm going to read the story and then I'll kind of talk about it. As many of you know, I'm Lonnie Sheldon, family law attorney in Arizona for over 25 years, founder of the Split Up app. So let's touch on this. Filing in Arizona, and honestly, the financial side is stressing me out more than the emotional side at this point. We have a house, two kids, and I've been paying for basically everything for years. My salary is decent, but it's not walk away from a mortgage and rent an apartment at the same time kind of money. We've been reading a lot about mediation versus litigation, and mediation seems like the smarter call for us since we're not exactly at war, just done. But even that runs a few $1,000s, and I'd still need a lawyer to review whatever we agree on. So it's not cheap either way. The house is what keeps me up at night. Do you sell and split? Does one person buy the other out? In the Phoenix market, that buyout number is not small. I genuinely don't know how people do this without torching their finances for the next decade. Did anyone go through a relatively cooperative divorce and still come out okay on the other side? What actually helped you handle the money piece without losing your mind? Curious what people wish they'd known going in. So as I said, I created the Split Up app, and that really walks you through from when you're thinking about divorce all the way through to receiving the order and then even thriving afterwards. But I want to address these one at a time. Okay, so I first want to address the house because you said that's what's keeping you up at night. The house is a difficult one, and you really need to know that piece and understand what you want to do prior to going to mediation and prior to litigating. You can decide that, right? You have to determine the value, and then you have to determine how much you owe, and then subtract and determine how much equity you have in it. Is that equity enough to divide and each of you get a new place? Um, is somebody able to refinance that and pay the other person out? There's a lot of things to consider. I just like 2 days ago, I think I uploaded a podcast between me and Raquel Coldsrud, and she's a wealth advisor, and we talk in depth about the family home because that is the biggest issue typically. It's emotional, it's your biggest asset, and a lot happens with that because where are you going to live? How are the kids going to feel being uprooted? So there's a lot that goes on with that. I really urge you to watch that. I'm going to link that at the bottom of this so that you can go look at that. Um, I want to talk now about the mediation versus litigation. I am a huge believer in mediation. I think mediation is great. I still think you have to know what you want. I think you both should go see an attorney, each individually, so that you can understand what your rights are, understand what the court would do if you went to court, get some ideas. Attorneys are super creative and they might be able to help you determine things. So, I would honestly suggest that you each at least get an attorney for one consultation. I also highly recommend, of course, that you download the Split Up app and we will walk you through kind of what to do. We have probably over 500 videos that are available that talk about each section. We have planners that tell you how to get through each part of it. Just so you know, in Arizona, we have what's called a consent decree, and that allows you guys to file together. So once you know what you want and you can divide it, you can just file that together as long as you wait the 60 days. So you file it, the petition, and then they'll wait 60 days to sign it. And that's a great way to do it, much less expensive than dealing with lawyers. But I do think it's financially worth it to at least do a 1 hour consult each on the way in and a 1 hour consult each when you leave. In the meantime, my thoughts are you should download the Split Up app because what we have in there talks about the finances and it talks about the house and we talk about parenting plans that just because you agree now doesn't mean you're going to agree later. So I'm going to give you an example from my own divorce. I got divorced. We did it fine. We agreed on everything. We split everything, got that done. And the parenting plan didn't become a problem until my ex got engaged and remarried, and his new wife wanted to change things up. So I do recommend a strong parenting plan, even if you guys are getting along great. Use it as a fallback. Just make sure that you have everything in writing. So there's a lot of bad things that can happen when somebody wants to get even, or is just angry at the moment if your parenting plan isn't really good. There's also this book, Co-Parenting by Design, which was written by my law partner and one of my good friends, Annette Burns, and then Nicole Siqueiro Stoutner. Um, I would take a look at that. I will also put that link down there. It's important to understand how to co-parent, even if you guys are totally fine. Co-parenting can be difficult. So I don't want you to just brush that off. I think it's important to understand that even if you agree 50-50, we're going to be co-parents, we're going to be joint legal decision makers. The devil's in the details, as they say. And in this case, it's so true because with parenting plans, they can be extremely difficult. So I would highly recommend that you look at that you put significant amount of effort into creating a really good parenting plan. Again, Split Up has a really good parenting plan video and I think an addendum. I think we've got all of that in there that's really good. And if you have any questions, this is one of the things I love about Split Up. If you have any questions, reach out to us and maybe we can make a video for you. Um, we can't give legal advice because we're not advising everybody on here. But if somebody gives us a really good idea on what to do a new video on, we'll take it and run with it. It's not a difficult thing to do. And it helps people sort of get an understanding of what they're looking for. So feel free to do that. Contact us. And if you need a specific video, if you're saying, hey, I'm really struggling on this part of a parenting plan, I'm really not understanding this thing about travel, go ahead and submit that and I'll either do one of these or I will do a video and post it into our Split Up app. So I want to talk about that. Mediation versus litigation. Mediation is 1,000 times better. It can be almost as expensive if you guys are going to fight until you decide to settle, right? So litigation is a time period between when somebody has been served and they've responded and until trial. Like that whole time period is a litigation period. And in that litigation period is discovery and disclosure, there's motions, there's temporary orders. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. Um, and that's really important for you to understand because if you decide you're going to go to mediation, by the way, there are some mediators who will file everything for you. You'll go to their office, they'll settle the case, they'll file the documents for you. I'm thinking that my partner does that now. Nicole Siqueiro Stoutner at Sheldon and Stoutner, but I'm not 100% sure if she does all of that. But I'll find out and I'll also post that down there. Um, so if you get that done and um, go through that mediation, they can help you with all of that. That's going to be the least expensive way to do it. If you decide that you want to fight about stuff, or if you're not quite agreeing, you could litigate even just without lawyers for that whole time period until you go to trial and you might do depositions. You don't need a lawyer to do a deposition. You might do depositions. You might do interrogatories. You might do subpoenas. There's a lot of actionable items that go into that that are um, they're not conducive to settlement, right? They are going to piss off the other party, um, but they help you get to the bottom of things if money's missing or if you're looking for anything in particular. Um, so I think it's if you go the mediation route right off, that's going to be the least expensive. But you do need to have your ducks in a row if you're going to do that. You do need to know where the money is. You do need to know where the retirement is. You do need to understand like your numbers, your income, her income. Um, if you if you have been the primary, it says you've been the primary breadwinner, I think. Um, and so I guess my thought is, are you going to be paying spousal maintenance? There's a spousal maintenance calculator online that you can Google. I strongly urge you to Google that so that you can see what you're looking at. Um, it's literally just punching numbers in, so it doesn't really matter. There are some things that matter, right? But there's just it is what it is. It's going to say if you have to pay spousal maintenance, you're going to pay either, 1 year to 5 years or 3 years to 7 years or whatever it is. And then from this amount to that amount. So it'll give you a range for what you would pay if there's spousal maintenance. Um, but yeah, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's a lot more expensive to litigate as long as you settle early on. Some people settle on the court, the courthouse steps, as they say. And that if you've done that, you've paid for all the litigation. And so that's not going to save you a whole lot of money. If you settle early, that's your best bet. And by the way, settling early also helps you guys, besides you save money, mediations are known to help people get along better, to follow the orders better because they had a say in it. When you go to court, you're asking a judge who doesn't know you, who doesn't know your family, who has no idea what you want or what traditions you have, making those orders. And so if you can put together a great parenting plan together, and if you can, um, try and understand the debt and divide that equitably and figure out what you want to do with the house, um, I think you can do it inexpensively. Now, that's what you're saying at this moment. Sometimes things change during litigation. If either of you starts to date and the other party gets wind of it, that's going to be a problem. If your other parent is thinking that they're going to have 75% of the parenting time and you're only going to have 25% of the parenting time, but you want 50% of the parenting time, you're going to have a problem. And so, although you may not disagree on a bunch, you may, when pencil hits paper, have some significant disagreements. And clearly, the more disagreements you have, the more expensive it gets if you're getting attorneys involved. So, the cheapest way to do it is if you guys agree and you do a consent decree and you fill it out correctly. Again, I strongly, strongly urge you to get the premium um, version of the Split Up app because we walk you through not how to do everything, but we walk you through things like parenting plans and what you should be thinking about and documents you should be gathering and where money could be hiding. Um, so we do that, and I think that's really important for you to learn and know. The second best, I'm not going to say best, the second least expensive way, I think, is to find a good mediator right out of the gate. And I do say find a good mediator for a reason. Uh, as a family law attorney, I've had plans that had been mediated by a not very good mediator come to me that we had to try and undo and fix after they'd been significantly messed up. Um, there are some really great mediators out there. We're going to start listing some. We haven't listed them yet. Again, if you were to reach out and say that wanted to know mediator in Arizona, certainly I can find you a mediator in Arizona because that's where I practice. I couldn't find you one in California and I couldn't find you one in New York, but I could find you one in Arizona. Um, so what do people wish they had known going in? I think what I've heard people say in the past is that they wish, and this is going to sound like weird, but they wish that they had gotten rid of the house. They stayed in the house for so long that they became very house poor, and it, it didn't suit them, right? It there were a lot more expenses, I think, involved in that than they thought that there were. Now, in our split up app and our planner, we go through deciding on whether or not you want to stay in the house. That's a big section. Whether or not to stay in the house, whether to sell it, things to consider, um, dividing the money, determining who's going to be the realtor. Those kinds of things are really important and can cause problems. So that's that's what you need to know going in. Um, I wish I had it with me. I don't. But our section on our 30 days to filing. So our first planner is 30 days to filing. We now have six planners in our system, in our split up planning system. We've got the 30 days to planning or 30 days to planning to file. So it takes you from before filing all the way up to filing. And then we've got 90 days after filing. And so that's basically as soon as you've been served, or if you are the person who filed, this will talk you through serving someone. And then if you're a respondent, it talks to you about responding and making sure you do that appropriately. And then that goes 90 days and what could happen in that 90 days. And then the next planner is 135 days to trial, and that helps you plan the whole litigation strategy. After that, we've got the 120 days after trial. So that will include receiving the order, and it'll include the time before receiving the order. So both of those, I think, are important to understand, and there's a lot of stuff that can happen during that time. And then we have now an enforcement planner that's really for child support enforcement. And then we have the 180 days of thriving after divorce. And this is going to teach you how to go from I had this money to now I don't have this money. What do I do? How do I make more money? How do I save money? How do I start dating again? How do I date safely? Um, Kind of getting to know yourself again, taking care of yourself. So we go through each part of it. Where you're at right now is the very beginning, and this is the time when you should grab this. And if you message me, I'm going to figure out how to get an email address to you because I'm gonna link this to this Reddit, and then tax glittering 6760. I'm gonna give you a free month just to look at this because I think if you look at the app, you'll realize, okay, yeah, this is really helpful. So um we'll try that. I don't know if I can get you this information. I'm gonna try. Um, but the this app will talk to you about specifically understanding everything there is about, do I stay in the house? Do I sell the house? Do I need the fresh start? Is the fresh start the better idea? Do I not care? Do I just not want to move because that's a pain? Um, change of addresses and changing possibly schools, and you probably can't afford as much as you did when you were there before. So there's just going to be a lot of things to consider. Um, and a lot of information you need to gather to help you make that decision. So I actually created an app just for that question. What do you wish you'd known going in? This app actually resolves that. So there's a lot. There's a lot. You want to know about all the debt. Maybe do a check right now on your credit and on your spouse's credit and see what you guys have all together. There may be hidden debt that you don't know about. So let's look at the debt. Let's look at the bank accounts. Let's look at life insurance. look at our monthly costs, how much you own the house, how much was paid, so what your equity is, how much it's worth. You can even Zillow that. That's oftentimes very close. But there's a lot to know. There's there's a lot to know. My 30-day planner is, it's like this big. It's thick and it's important information for you to consider. So, I mean, good luck. I understand this is difficult. Um, if you can mediate, you want to mediate. You just want to make sure that you take things in your own hands and make sure that you make the appropriate decisions, such as in parenting plans, child support, spousal maintenance. By the way, just so that you understand, we've got a whole section on mediation too, because there are things you can do in mediation that you can't do in litigation. For example, especially in Arizona, you can negotiate on things that the court can't order. You get to be more creative. Like the court, the court, if they have to, will be sell it and split it. Sell it and split it. You like it? I don't care. Sell it and split it. Um, if there's assets that you want and you're fighting over it, then it's going to be take turns. You choose one, you choose one, you choose one, you choose one. Like that's how it's going to go, more than likely. So if you can resolve those issues, that's better. But those are issues um, that are there and that you're going to learn about the hard way if you don't learn about them sooner. So reach out to us at Split Up. Good luck. I wish you the very best. I've been divorced. I know divorce sucks. I think it's one of the worst things any person can go through. I do wish you the best of luck. And just as just so you understand, is Dr. Robert DiCarlo is my partner in Split Up, and he's a forensic accountant who's worked primarily in family courts, I think for over 10 years. And he's got many videos in there also that talk about the emotional side. So I understand that the emotional side isn't what you're worried about right now, but Robert will help you get through that through the Split Up app also. We have tools for parents going through things and ways to decide things, um, and so I really wish you the best. I know divorce sucks. I know it's expensive. That's why I created the app. Please check out our podcast. Again, we just did one. We just did one on uh, the divorce finances, and the housing was a big section of that. So like us, follow us, do all that good stuff, and download the app and get the premium version. And if you can reach out to me, I'll give you a free month. And this is only for tax glittering 6760. So you're gonna have to show me that that's you.